Hi, I'm Laura Hahn Segundo Collins,
And I'm Joy Han Silva Melora.
and welcome to Hanacity. Hey,
Hey,
Joya. A little rush today. How are you doing?
very rushed. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I literally just got home from working. So it was like I'm going from one thing to another, but happy to be
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
yeah. Now you have been in competitive season. How's that been going for you?
For the most part, it's going better than expected. So
Mhm.
that's like the good news. I think that every competition brings up new things. And so like the first one was definitely the most anxiety just because I didn't know what to expect. Second one was really sweet because my amazing husband Marvin came with me and there was like just a really sweet support. And so I just felt way more relaxed when I felt like somebody was in my corner. This last competition was literally this weekend, and for the most part, it went well. I think the thing that was just really interesting is my athlete didn't have the best meet that she probably could have potentially had. And it was just one of those things, just like holding her near and knowing that she could have done better. And that experience being on that end of just encouraging someone and not having to focus on somebody's like awards, but really like sit with that person and their feelings was a nice adjustment. And so,
Yeah.
looking at the sport in a different lens of like it being a life lesson more so of just those are things that are going to happen in life. We're going to like underperform sometimes and not meet expectations and make mistakes. And it's really about how you rise up after it. And so I think she did a really great job ending her meet well to the best that she could do. And then just create a plan for going back into the gym and just building confidence. And I think when the next competition, hopefully, she'll do better. But
Yeah, that's great.
yeah,
We're cheerleading her along the way,
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. Actually, it was really
Mhm.
sweet. She's been competing alone. She's in the level that she's in. She's the only athlete as that level. And one of her friends came on the floor and put her leotard on to walk out and march out with her so that she wasn't alone on the floor with her. So I will
Amazing.
say that that's a really sweet shift in like building the athlete up, listening to what she needed, and it's amazing. And
Amazing teammate.
speaking of that, we have an amazing guest today
Yep.
and they are waiting in the room. So I'm going to
Yeah.
let them in and you can introduce them when they come on.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So, our amazing guest, Laura, do you want to read their bio?
Yes, I do. So today we have my dear friend Darlene Carrera and her son Manny Laura. Darlene is a single mom raising her son Manny in New York City. Originally from Northern California, she moved to NYC to pursue a master's in social work at Columbia. That's where we met. She's currently a clinical trainer for an evidence-based model supporting adolescents and young adults across New York State and has a mental health and supervisory private practice. On her spare time, she loves anything to do with art and will often be busy making greeting cards, signs, or decorations for the next event for friends and loved ones. She's really, 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 really talented. And fun fact, Darlene and I were pregnant together in 2010, which is really fun. Manny is a student athlete. He's 14 years old, plays quarterback for his youth football team. He's currently in eighth grade and attends public school in the Bronx. Our kids have just found out about high schools, and he'll give us an update
Mm.
about that, which is very exciting. In his spare time, Manny enjoys playing video games, working on his craft, and hang out with his teammates. Without further ado, Darlene and Manny. Welcome, Darlene and Manny. We're so happy to see you. Thank you for joining us today.
Happy to
Thank you for
be
having
here.
us.
So there's so much that's about to happen and unfold in this conversation, I have no doubt. And as we are doing with everybody, if you wouldn't mind just kind of starting at the beginning, if that's okay, can you share with us how you got into your sport and maybe where does the story begin for you?
I think the story begins with my mom because growing up and always watching football on the TV, my mom coming from a family that's very involved into football, like having family members that played and also just like really big fans of professional football. I was kind of born into it, I would say. Like
Mm.
heavily being influenced by my mom, but I didn't jump into tackle football right away. I mean, I started for about maybe a month or two, when I was like 6, but then stopped for safety reasons and also to get a better understanding of the game. So we started with like flag football around 10 or 11 years old. And since then, just been working really hard. Eventually started playing tackle football 2 years ago and been doing really well ever since.
Yeah.
And
I
Darlene, what
have
made you choose football, by the way?
I don't think that I chose football. I mean, so when Manny was young, he was like a long baby. So he was 22 inches and he was just coming out of my arms. Everybody was like, oh, he could be a basketball player. He could be in water polo, like all of the sort of sports that, you need a little bit of length. And so I think we just had him trying out just different things. We had him in soccer. He tried basketball at a camp, golf. We tried the other way and to do music stuff. So, I mean, I think we were kind of trying to figure out what he would be passionate about. And football wasn't really something that crossed my mind. I mean, although it is a favorite of mine, I don't know that I was wanting Manny to necessarily play football or like football in that way, but it makes sense. I mean, that's my favorite sport. So I
Mhm.
love watching it.
And I think maybe if you could help people understand how much Darlene loves football, because it's a very, very special relationship that Darlene has with football.
I mean, our family, we loved doing the fantasy football. So definitely that was something that started, I don't even know, when Manny was young, I was one of the only female cousins, girls in the family playing fantasy football with my uncles and my dad and my brother. All of them and sort of their kind of bullyish and just the ways that men talk in football and just kind of enduring it. But I did also, when I was young in high school, I played flag football too, the powder puff with like the all the girls that were really interested in it. I liked to do the game, and play it. Now I like to just watch it. I think Manny is really entertaining. I think his team and just the way that they play. So, I definitely enjoy watching Manny on the field. So
Hmm.
it's changed over time.
And I think people should know that before Manny and my kid were around, that Darlene's birthdays used to always be football parties. She'd make us play. It'd be fun. We had a good time. We had a good time.
Manny was a lot of your childhood football too, even though you started at 6. Do you have fond memories as a little kid with football and the family?
I wouldn't say as strong as I have now. I
Mm.
think it definitely grew over time. Like I said, I wasn't really like involved in tackle football like from the jump like consistently, but yeah, like my love started to grow for it like the more that I did, and then when I started actually playing, that's when it like skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Mhm. How old were you when you started noticing like this is turning into from something that is just enjoyable to like I actually really love this sport?
I think I had my eyes set on tackle football as soon as I started playing flag football, which is about 10 to 11. But I remember my first year actually playing a season in tackle football.
Mm.
I think the moment that really got me going was like the first time that I scored
Hmm.
How did
Your
that?
because
face just changed with that too. Can you tell
Yeah.
us about that moment?
so this wasn't a particularly strong season, right? My team was severely undersized, playing in a very competitive league slash division, and just out of nowhere, like our energy was really low, and we're starting from our own 10 yard line. So, in other words, we had about 90 yards of field ahead of us, and as a quarterback, even though your job is to mainly pass the ball, I couldn't find anyone open, so I ran it, and I ran it the whole 90 yards and scored.
Wow. 90 yards is a lot.
It's a lot. The one that you took the video of?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we're gonna share that.
Screaming.
That's gonna be an amazing video to share with everybody right now.
Mhm.
90
Um,
yards is a lot. A lot. That's incredible.
so Manny, you've had a bit of a journey with football at such a young age already. Can you walk us through from that point that it's instilled in you now? We have love, we have drive for football. You've gone through a lot. Do you mind sharing that experience with us?
Sure. So let's start in summer of 2024. My mom had signed me up for a lot of high school camps to try to get my name out there, to try to get practice out. And at my first camp, on the first day of the camp, I dislocated my shoulder and partially tore my labrum, which is like one of the, I think, tendons or
Like
something. But
ligament. Yeah.
I partially tore it, and that pretty much sat me out for multiple weeks. So I was gonna miss all these camps because of the injury, and basically the feeling of sitting out, knowing that like you could be playing, it was a terrible feeling, and you have to do the more mental part of football. Like instead of like practicing for real, like you have to like understand that this is like the risk that you're taking by choosing this sport. And also on the other side, is this what you really want to do? Do you want to be getting injured like this pretty much your whole career? Because you cannot, it's you can't really avoid it. It's bound to happen, unfortunately. So making that decision to come back even stronger, which I kind of had on my mind since the beginning, but right. Um, so I came back after the summer and started and came back as soon as the season began. We played a great season, better than the season that I had previously. And towards the end of it, about 3 weeks after our last game, my coach was tragically killed in a car accident. Um, so still not being completely separate from that organization, right? I still consider myself a part of that organization. Our morale was just extremely low because that was our head coach. That was the guy that was running everything. So I would say that all of these setbacks have been motivation to come back even stronger, because after my coach had passed away, my team was all feeling like, even though we were sad, we are feeling motivated to do better for him, right? Uh, in terms of like behavior at school and at home, because that's what he stood for, like above football, uh, to do better on the field, to be a better friend, to be a better brother, to be a better person. So we're motivated in, I guess, all sorts of categories to be better.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ready to transform your athletic performance from the inside out? Meet Laura Segundo Collins, known as the athlete psychotherapist who's revolutionizing mental wellness in sports. Whether you're an athlete, coach, parent, or program, Laura offers 4 game-changing workshops: the whole person athletics revolution, connecting with a trauma-informed approach, remastering me, myself, and I, and mindful development. For more information, visit lcollinslcsw.com and begin your journey to holistic athletic excellence today.
Manny, let's take a step back a little bit, if you don't mind. Having an injury like that and having the determination to come back stronger takes a lot of fortitude and drive on your own individually, especially when you're on the sideline, right? Watching your teammates play, watching your teammates get attention. What types of things did you do for yourself? Because you couldn't go and get hit by a ball or by a player, or you couldn't catch a ball. When you're injured, there is still physical workouts that you do. What were types of things that you had to do on your own and figure out on your own before you came back? You talked about getting into the mental game of the sport. What are things that you did during that time?
Right. So I injured my throwing shoulder. I'm a quarterback.
Mm.
And immediately we had to figure out physical therapy. And physical therapy was basically every week, multiple times a week, just like rehabbing it, getting it stronger, massaging it, acupuncture, just things to kind of improve strength and to make it feel more natural again, because movement was terrible. Like moving it at all, I felt immense pain just
Yeah.
everywhere. So yeah, I was in physical therapy till the start of July, and physical therapy didn't end until about mid-September. So that's how many weeks of
Yeah.
physical therapy. Yeah,
Manny,
and
how old
also
are you at this time? You're how old at this time?
currently,
Well, in
or
2024, when your injury happened, how old were you when
13.
you were 13 years old? So as a 13-year-old, I mean, I can only imagine, right? Like you're going to therapy multiple times. You're doing movement and range of motion as a 13-year-old to kind of push through pain, right? These are things that professional athletes do in their adulthood. And as a 13-year-old, you are doing the things that professional athletes do to get better for their sport. Like you said, it's this moment mentally where you make a decision and you see the probability of getting hurt. And you're like, this is going to inevitably happens in any sport. Injuries happen, right? And you say in this moment that you had to make a decision whether or not you wanted to continue. You learning the probability of getting injured. You're learning whether or not this sport is worth it. And you chose to stay in it. Why did you choose to stay in it?
I think that among the course of where I started, and I knew that this is an injury right before a season, right before my second season. I didn't want that to be like the end of the journey. Like, no way. Um, so, and on top of that, I really love the sport. Like, I knew that we didn't have the strongest season. I'm I consider myself someone who doesn't like ending on bad terms or on a bad note.
Mm,
So even if I was even thinking about honestly like stopping for real, I knew that, oh, I have to end off on a better note. So like I said, the results from last season was motivation. Getting hurt and knowing I had to get better, knowing that my team really needed a quarterback, that was like the final piece that would have brought it all together. All motivation.
that's huge, Manny. I mean, so, Manny, I'm also a coach, and these are things that I want to instill in my athlete too. And you're way ahead of the game. And I know that passion and drive and love is what got you through this, but this is stuff that you learn outside of sport too. And so to have those tools already at 13 is phenomenal. And to see foresight in those things is really remarkable that you have that at this age. So that's I'm blown.
Good
Um,
job, Mom.
yeah, Darlene.
Spoken like a true son of a social worker.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. How did you feel when you heard Manny got hurt or when you saw Manny get hurt?
Yeah. What was that like for you during that time?
So I think I was in shock and I didn't quite understand the depth of how hurt he was. I almost wanted to like take a Tylenol and then in the morning you'll be okay. It'll be sore, but that's it. But Manny was like, no, I think we need to go to the doctor. I was like, no, I think we need to as well. So we had to make an appointment. You know how that goes. You make an appointment with your general practitioner to get the appointment for
Mm-hmm.
all the
The
other things.
specialist. Yeah.
So yeah, so he had an X-ray done, and then we were recommended to go to an orthopedist, where then he had an MRI done. So there was like, all of these steps to try to figure out what was going on. And at that same time, we got the recommendation for physical therapy, and we immediately called and just tried to get him in as soon as possible. I mean, they tried all the things with him, right? So I think they taught Manny a bunch of exercises to do at home, icing it. He tried cupping. We did massage. He did
Wow.
acupuncture. I mean, Manny was open to trying everything and anything, and just with encouragement, like all these things are here to sort of help to hopefully heal this shoulder. I mean, we went like 3, 4 times a week. We were going a lot.
Again, like a 13-year-old at this moment making the decision to do all those things. I know for us being athletes, like there is a thing, Darlene, maybe that you can speak on as being a mom and seeing this in your child and seeing your child go through all these things and making the decision to like do acupuncture and cupping and all these things. Like, what are you thinking as a parent putting him through those things? Is it just like because there is this like moment where I think with Manny, not every 13-year-old is like, yeah, do what you need to do, like poke, probe, do, like get me back on the field. Like it is innately in him that he is wired in a different way than most 13-year-olds. It's part of being an exceptional athlete. It's part of being extraordinary. And it sounds like Manny has that genetic makeup, right? You are on the sidelines with other parents that probably have 13-year-olds that are similar or 13-year-olds that are not. Like, what are you thinking as a parent when you see your child make these decisions, taking him to these appointments, seeing him in pain? There's so much more complexity to those things.
I mean, I think this is kind of funny, but so we go to the physical therapy appointment, and the physical therapist is a Filipino lady. And I was like, oh, I just took a little bit of pride in that. I was like, oh, she's from the Philippines and she had moved and had never lived in New York City and was living in Queens and traveling all the way to the Bronx in Riverdale
Wow.
to be a physical therapist. And it was just sort of the connection of just feeling like this family, she got us.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody inside of that physical therapy office, they were kind, they were patient, they were compassionate. They definitely told us about all the things that they could do. I told Manny, like, let's try it. I mean, the worst thing you could do is say no. And so I think he went with it. I know watching him, because I sat with him the first appointment for acupuncture. I don't know, Manny could probably tell you how that felt, but I've had acupuncture before. So like I was hoping that it wouldn't feel so, terrible and that he would feel relief from it. And so he's a champ. He did it. And I think I just told him, like, just don't look if you're like really weirded out by it. Like, you don't have to look at your shoulder. But I think you did, right, Manny? I think you definitely looked at the needles.
Yeah, I couldn't not look.
How many needles did you have in your arm, Manny?
I think about 15 at once.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Can you walk people through who have never had acupuncture or cupping before? I mean, I think we think of the Western medicine and physical therapy as a general thing, but what was that like for those who don't know it? What is cupping? What is acupuncture like, the Eastern medicine traditions?
I appreciate cupping more than acupuncture, like as a personal preference, because first of all, with acupuncture, it's a whole bunch of needles. I'm not good with needles at all, and it does kind of hurt because they have to move it around and like put a whole bunch in the same area. You can't really move it or else it gets messed up. So it does hurt a little bit. It's not really pain on the skin when it pierces your skin, but it's more so inside. But cupping is just uncomfortable for the time being when it is on, but as soon as it comes off, like you feel like a relief.
Are you ready to embrace a healthier, more vibrant life? Look no further than With Joy, a transformative movement and nutrition program that goes beyond the ordinary. Our approach is rooted in compassion care, tailored to each individual. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just starting your fitness journey, we've got something for you. Our comprehensive programs include strength, mobility, and conditioning to elevate your fitness, recovery and recuperation for healing, and nutrition wellness plans to fuel your body for optimal performance. Check out our show notes for more information and links to our programs. Join the With Joy movement today and discover a whole new way to thrive.
Darlene, I have a question for you as a parent, because I just think about people who are listening in and you have a perspective of being a parent to an extraordinary athlete. When did you know Manny was good?
I always believe in Manny in all different ways. So I think with sports, watching the way that Manny is with, his teammates, it didn't really just come naturally. I think that there was a lot of training involved to get him to feel more confident, to run faster, just to be more focused. And so with the practices that he had with, flag football or tackle football, Manny also has been going to a speed, agility training facility to just focus in on his core. So I think what sets him apart, or what makes me feel that he, is good, is just the willingness and the want to continue to do things outside of just sort of even regular practice. Manny goes to a specific trainer to focus in on his craft. We love this training facility. They really care about us. They definitely have become people that we will keep in touch with forever. I think that through that training, along with all of the different sports and different seasons and different travel teams that Manny was on. I think just the grit and the movement, the passion towards it has gotten him to get better and better and better each season, each time that he plays on a different team. He gets invited to go on to all-star teams, and he'll be joining a team in June. It's called like Move the Chains. It's for specific eighth graders who are about to go into high school. So I think Manny playing with other teammates who are just as competitive as him and, you know, are all-stars in their teams, I think that that also helps, right, to just sort of push the bar and continue to keep kind of growing in that way. So I think that Manny to me is always excelling in that way because I think he always pushes to just do a little bit more. I wouldn't say that he doesn't complain about going to these things. I think he usually is in agreement. So it's not like I'm forcing him to go. But, you know, at times when kids are tired and they want to play video games or whatever, you know, that happens here and there. But for the most part, he likes going and doing that extra training. He was in a game today and then he was in training yesterday. So like this movement, this grit just doesn't stop for him. He just keeps going.
That's incredible.
You're also talking a lot about community between the like physical therapists. You're talking about your coaches, your families. You know, this is maybe a segue into you've experienced a lot of loss this past year. And so when we're talking about community, this is a good segue to this, is walk us through what it was like to lose your coach. And for you, Darlene, as you are all a very, very involved team. This team is like, all you talk about is like how close you are as a family. So can you tell us a little bit about your coach, the imprint that he's made on y'all? What can you tell us about him?
Well, Coach D didn't start off as a coach. He started off as a correctional officer at Rikers Island. And the reason why he took the coaching route is because he didn't agree with how people were treating kids around my age. So he figured that if he started coaching, he could help get these kids out of trouble and get them into something more productive like football, right? So Coach D had been coaching, I would say, around 15 years. He coached for a high school called DeWitt Clinton, and he also coached my team, which is called the Bronx Buccaneers. Coach D was the head coach / offensive coordinator, so I worked really tightly with him in terms of getting plays down, learning like what our strengths were, understanding what my strengths were, what my own weaknesses were on the field, and how to minimize like mistakes and maximize, you know, opportunities to make plays and do good. So yeah, that's what I think Coach D was about. A big phrase that he had was to be your brother's keeper. And that was kind of our motto for the season, was to always have each other's back, to always put each other in positions to do well, like to play as a team. So that I think that was the type of coach that Coach D was.
Incredible. Manny, by living your life for the things that he taught, keeps his memory alive too. And so by you carrying on that legacy, it only shows how amazing of a human being Coach D was. So I'm sure he's made more of a lasting imprint on many athletes, which is amazing.
Yeah. And Darlene, how about you?
Coach D was the coach that was behind the barbecue grill. He was grilling for the whole entire organization. So they have their annual barbecues and picnics, and Coach D is that guy that comes around with all the skewers that are grilled by him, and he hands it to every mom and every dad, and just making sure that we were all eating. He definitely had a personality. Everybody knew when he was around because he was so helpful. He was loud. He had a great sense of humor. He made all the parents laugh and crack up. He made the players laugh and crack up too. But you could also tell like his dedication was beyond. He was the first one out there. He was with Miss Tasha, who was his partner. They were the first ones out in the field, putting out all of the different signs and the things that were needed for the football game and just getting it all ready. They were the first to be at the field. They were the last to leave.
Mm.
And so losing him was just a tremendous loss. I think the whole organization, the parents, the players, I think we've definitely all rallied together. It still is very painful. And I think, everybody's still trying to sort of figure out the pieces and trying to help in ways that they can, but the absence is definitely there. I think everybody feels it. And as much as different coaches are trying to pitch in and, we're trying to patch up certain holes, I just don't think that his, just the way that he was and what he stood for could ever be replaced. So it's just like a sore, hurtful thing. And I think the team and everybody is still really just shocked and
Yeah.
sad about it. I don't know
Yeah.
if anybody will ever get over losing him.
Yeah.
So again, guys, I'm so sorry for your loss and just holding you in a lot of love and support during
Thank
these
you.
tough times right now. You mentioned that there's some also really amazing glimmers of hope and light coming down the pike. Manny, your mom shared, of course, your high school choice. So can you share a little bit about what's ahead for you this year?
Sure. So obviously gonna be training really hard throughout the off season, throughout the summer. But going into high school, the high school that I committed to is Cardinal Hayes High School for Boys, which is a Catholic high school that performs extremely well in football and has great academics as well. And recently, the year before last, they won state.
No
Amazing.
kidding. That's amazing. And for those that don't know, a lot of our listeners are not here in New York City. Can you share with them what that experience was like, the high school, what feels like college application experience? Can you share that experience with everyone?
Yeah, it was a process. It definitely was. So there's a test called the tax test, and that basically, if based on your performance, so from the beginning you have to like fill out like a form about yourself and like three Catholic schools that you want to apply for, and to be accepted, you pretty much have to take this test, and based on your performance, it will be if like the schools accept you or not. Then there's like high school placement tests that determine classes and maybe up your chances in a certain school. And I performed really well on the tax exam, and I applied to three schools: Fordham Prep, Mount St. Michael, and then Hayes, which is where I'm going currently. And I was really proud of myself afterwards. I was happy to get it all done. But it was a lot of studying. It was a lot of work after school, working on it on the weekend, like whenever I had free time to. Like we had to order a book, we had to order like flashcards because it was a lot of material that the exam covered to
Yeah.
get into these schools.
I was going to say too, Manny, we went to all the orientations, all the open houses.
Wow.
They request sort of that you tour the school. Manny was a Hazeman for the day. So he went to the school to try it out. He did that also at Fordham Prep as well. We didn't get to do that for Mount St. Michael just because of other things that went on, but I think Manny kind of made up his mind. He was going between the two different schools, but there was a request of us going to on their campus to check it out, which made sense. So we definitely got to spend a lot of time. Manny also got to practice with Cardinal Hayes, like their football team as well, just to check that out and like go to the locker room and talk with the different coaches. And so there was a lot of back and forth with many coaches. I think
Wow.
not only the coaches for the Catholic high schools, but then coaches for the public high schools that also were wanting Manny to apply to the public schools as well.
How long prior to high school would you, looking back now at your career, if you want football to be part of your high school career, you want sports to be a major part of your experience as a teenager right now, what would you tell people who are interested in this? Like, what should people be looking for, thinking about as their own kids? Because, research shows that at 14, a lot of kids just drop out of sports, period. More women than men, of course, but in general, 14 is a big drop off of sports because I think what the the guess is that it either gets super, super super competitive, like we're trying to get in D1, D2, D3 schools, or it's just recreational, but more programs are trying to sort of be geared towards, and I get it, they want to have a program that is going to have a results-driven program. But what would you say to families, to young athletes who are interested in pursuing their sport in a high school level, going through this process? What are some sort of pro tips that you would have for them?
Right. Regarding your first question, I think my mom had an idea that I would start playing football in high school because it's a safety thing and like a lot of mental preparation of like what you're about to go through or what you're about to watch from like I guess like a parent's perspective. Now, following to your second question, my tips for people to keep them motivated to stay in sports going into high school. I think high school is a different from what I've witnessed and what I've been told and what I believe is that high school sports will be a completely different experience because it's practiced a lot more frequently and your decisions in school will determine how like your sports go. Like for example, if you're not doing the best in like grades wise, you won't be allowed to play. Or if your behavior isn't the best in school, how can coaches trust you with your behavior on the field or on the court or on the track or wherever you play sports? So I think it teaches you like responsibility. I think it teaches you to be punctual, to show up to classes on time, teaches you to be an efficient student, get good grades, get to school on time, have good behavior. So yeah, I think sports teaches you a lot, but high school sports is where it all really comes together.
Sounds like it taught you a lot of honor, is what I'm
Mhm.
getting, Manny.
We have both of you here, and it's not, it's, I think it's really cool to have athlete and parent here in the space. Darlene, you sacrifice so much for Manny. There's so much that you do for him, with him, and with joy. And we talk about this a lot, like when we go out to dinners and stuff. Manny, you are just a phenomenal, extraordinary human being, let alone athlete. And I'm always so impressed by you both. You have gone through so much and you take it with such grace, style, and elegance in many ways. You two are also an incredible team. What do you think about you two? Like, what's something that you appreciate in yourself and each other that make this mom athlete relationship so well?
Can I go first? Um, I appreciate my mom's trust in me, like the trust that I'm going to do my best to keep myself safe. I'm going to make decisions that benefit the team. I'm going to show that I really care. Is what I'm saying, and that I'm taking everything that like all the opportunities that my mom has given me and translate it into the game to show that like everything is going to be worth it. So I really appreciate my mom's trust.
I don't know if I'm hormonal or something, but
Thanks,
you guys are
Manny.
making me cry. That was very sweet. Okay.
Thanks, Manny.
Okay.
Um, Manny has always been that kid who was just so open to do anything and everything. As a little boy, I think he just, with open arms, just tried out things, right? We always knew when he didn't like something because he would be very adamant, like, I don't like that. But more often than not, he would try things. Manny was asking me to play tackle for a while, and I wasn't ready. That's why he was in flag for a lot longer than what he wanted to be. And he kept nudging and asking, can I be in tackle? And I was nervous. So I think me putting trust in Manny that he knows himself. The quarterback position wasn't his position at all when he started. He didn't play quarterback in flag. So him even having that position, I was nervous and scared. But like what Manny said, he has a real respect for the field. He has a respect for his team. He has respect with the coaches. Most of his coaches, they all really love coaching him because Manny's a good kid. He is a really respectful kid. And I think anybody who gets to spend time with Manny, like just loves him because of just his personality. He's a fun kid. to be around. So what works is just his openness to try things and his personality and being able to hang out and take right guidance, support, criticism from adults and coaches and people who have been teaching him and training him throughout the years.
Yeah. I have two questions. Okay. And it's for both of you. So, Manny, I would like you to tell me your favorite football moment. And then, Darlene, you can share your favorite football moment with Manny. So that's my first question. You guys can think about it. And then my second question would be, Manny, what is your football goal now? Looking forward into the future, where do you want to see your football career go? And Darlene, what are your hopes for Manny's future?
So right before the playoffs so the way playoffs work is depending on your record, you have like a seed. So if your record's really good, you'll have a higher seed. If your record's really bad, you'll have a lower seed. So right before playoffs, we knew that we were already in the playoffs from like the previous games before, but this last game right before playoffs would kind of like settle our seed. So we're playing the number one seed, the team that hadn't lost a game, and we came in there and we blew them out like bad. And I had a career game, like a whole bunch of passing yards, a whole bunch of touchdowns. Awesome. And our defense was great that day. They only scored once, but that definitely boosted our morale like a lot.
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite moment of all time.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well earned. Well earned. Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say that I have a football moment. I feel that there's specific moments in time where just even there were so many games in the rain, in the pouring rain. And so I'm completely soaked. I know that the boys out there are drenched. It's gross and muddy and they're slipping and sliding. And I think, even whatever outcome from the game, I think just even realizing what Manny and his team did during that whole time was always just like this feeling of like, oh my, I don't know how they got through that game, but they did. So I think it was moments like that when things were not ideal, right? And it was uncomfortable. Even watching Manny play his first game after his shoulder injury, I was a nervous wreck. I was pacing back and forth. I was completely relieved when it was done, and he said his shoulder felt fine, but he had rolled his ankle that game. So it wasn't the shoulder, it was the ankle. So I was like, oh, I was relieved and just thankful that he was able to play, that game and finish that game. So I don't necessarily know that there's, like a special moment. I mean, obviously when they win and when they score, but I think beyond that, I think it's kind of getting through like those tough games, those tough times that really stand out to me in answering that question.
Yeah.
And then maybe to answer the second one, Joy, in terms of, the future and what's to come. Manny wants to play high school football. I imagine we're going to rock through it and he's going to be a football star during his high school career. I'm hoping for a healthy, productive, academic, successful 4 seasons over 4 years of high school. I mean, it'd be the prospects of what that looks like afterwards, right? When we were in Northern California, Manny got a chance to hang out with my brother, his uncle, and they got to see Stanford, UC Berkeley, San Jose State, and then the Levi Stadium for the 49ers all in one day. And Manny got to go to all of the stadiums and kind of check out Northern California, right? And what they had to offer. And so I was glad that he got a taste of what that looked like because we're here in New York City, and so he can see, right, Columbia, Fordham, all the local high schools. But being in California and being in my hometown and Manny being able to check out those schools, I mean, that was special. So, I mean, that would be awesome for Manny to play anywhere. I think like his future is bright and he can go anywhere. So I'm hopeful that he'll have a great 4 years, and then we'll have to do this all over again and apply and go through that. But at least we have the practice of what it was like to get into high school. So I
Yeah.
think we're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
My goal is to have a free college education.
Mm.
So my goal is to play well enough to get like a scholarship for football and have a free college education. That's the primary goal right now.
Very cool. Very cool. We're cheerleading you, Manny.
Yeah.
And Dar.
Manny, yeah, we're going to have you back because
Bless you.
it sounds like your career is up on the rising. We're just at the beginning of your career.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bless you
again.
So we're going to have
Sorry.
multiple interviews with you, my dear friend.
Yeah.
Because your future looks incredibly bright. So,
Well,
Laura,
Thank you.
we have come to the end, and we thank you both so much for taking the time to share your experience. So impressive. Most of all, Manny and Dar. Just you two are incredible human beings who just happen to be amazing athletes and athlete parents. We're so excited for your future, and we're here for it. So we've come to the end, and as usual, we have a question called the Lightning Discuss. Would you like to play?
Let's play.
so the lightning discuss question is your pre-game meal. What is the meal you have before a big game?
I don't know if the word is superstition or tradition, but mom, you know those when you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, the croissant rolls, the
Yeah.
Pillsbury.
I
Yeah.
remember I had ate that the day of when I scored for the first time. Had like maybe like four of them. Like they were amazing. Like this was like one of my first times ever having it. And it just became a thing after that, like
Yeah.
to have it before every game. So like I remember the last game that season, that was my pregame meal, and I also picked up a whole lot of passing touchdowns and a whole lot of passing yards that day. We won that game too by blowout. And then I think almost every game this season. So that, and also fruits, bacon, eggs, like
Yeah.
things of that sort. Like it's like breakfast is never really light right before a game.
Mm-hmm. I think we need a sponsorship by Pillsbury for you.
I know right now. I know, Darlene, do you have like the Costco
Yeah.
size Pillsbury like
That's right.
croissant rolls at home now?
Pop and Fresh needs to be on your logo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Pillsbury.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Darlene, how about you?
So today, I would say that this is sort of typical too. So Manny had a game today. He left at 6:45 this morning. And so I was up and I made him I don't even remember. It's a Korean beef because we didn't have any bacon left, but we made eggs, there was rice. And so he had like a full meal before he left because I was like, I don't know when you're going to eat again. I don't know if you're going to be there for all day. Like, let's get you something really hearty. So we typically eat really well. There's always protein. So there's always, some sort of like, right, eggs or, we sort of push like oatmeal or whatever it might be that will get him that energy to keep going and feel good and not feel so full or whatever. It's usually with like rice and eggs. So some sort of
Nice.
combination of that with a meat.
And that's so Filipino. Where's our egg, spam, and rice with ketchup? Uh-huh. Joy, how about you? What was your pre-competition meal?
I always had pasta before a big meet. So it was carb loading actually. And usually it was with a bolognese. I think I usually had some sort of protein with it, or like grilled chicken. It's probably the only one time I really like got to eat as much pasta as I could because I think when I was younger it was like sort of limiting what I could and could not eat, but it was usually pasta. If it was an early
Mhm.
competition, I usually would get pancakes because I think the carb loading was the idea. And so that was my two go-tos.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Same. No, that probably was the same era of time. The pasta before you went to bed, and then pancakes in the morning.
I have
And
a feeling.
I got in trouble with eating pancakes before that. I still remember that. That was fun.
I also have a
Get trouble
feeling the
for eating
reason why I
pancakes.
did that, Laura, was because you did that.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
that's
probably
probably
passed down to
true.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was a thing. I still clearly remember getting in trouble for eating pancakes before a competition, I believe. Good times. Different time, different place. And I'm glad that is,
Yep.
I hope that's not in existence
Happening
anymore.
anymore.
But I'm surely very, very happy to hear eating kalbi or bulgogi with rice and eggs in the morning sounds fantastic.
Delicious.
Great. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much. We love you dearly, and we appreciate you so. Have a great season, Manny, and all the best wishes to you in high school.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Of course. All right.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
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 Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Share and follow us on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. Help us out and leave a 5-star review. Thanks.